The world has watched Jungkook rise before, but the version of him standing in December 2025 is different. Stronger, sharper, more global than ever, and more importantly, widely recognized by international media as one of the most influential Korean figures of the decade. From Rolling Stone UK covers to international brand campaigns and global streaming records, Jungkook's presence has transcended the typical boundaries of K-pop fame. He is no longer simply an idol, nor simply a member of BTS. He has become a cross-industry cultural force, shaping music, fashion, branding, and global youth culture all at once. IT is the kind of influence that rarely emerges in a single generation of artists. IT is the kind of influence that global media can no longer ignore. As 2025 enters its final weeks, articles from the UK, Japan, South Korea, the United States, and Southeast Asia have begun describing Jungkook as an unavoidable figure in modern pop culture, a phrase once reserved for legendary Western pop stars. Journalists point out that very few Asian musicians have achieved this level of cross-market visibility, especially in industries beyond music. But the real story of Jungkook's global rise throughout 2025 is not only about numbers, endorsements, or magazine covers. It's about the undeniable shift in how the world perceives him. For the first time, he is not being introduced as merely the youngest member of BTS, but rather as an independent powerhouse whose artistic identity and cultural impact stand firmly on their own. International media outlets began using new language to describe him: global tastemaker, fashion icon of the decade, the face of cultural globalization, a multi-industry phenomenon. These are not labels given out lightly. And yet for Jungkook, 2025 became the year when every part of his artistry, his visuals, his music, his influence, his image, aligned with unprecedented global recognition. In London, journalists praised his magnetic universality. In Tokyo, magazines highlighted his cross-cultural appeal. In New York, critics celebrated his genre-free creative identity. In Seoul, analysts noted his unmatched impact on the next generation of Korean entertainment. These voices, from different continents, cultures, and media systems, were all pointing toward one undeniable conclusion: Jungkook had entered a new era of global dominance. And it wasn't by accident. IT was the result of carefully built artistry, extraordinary work ethic, post-military reinvention, and a rare type of charisma that media outlets repeatedly describe as impossible to replicate. 2025 became the year Jungkook officially stepped into the role of a global trendsetter, influencing fashion houses, beauty brands, streaming platforms, and even the direction of digital culture. Every time he appears in public, it becomes a reference point, something fashion analysts immediately dissect, something brand strategists quietly study, something youth culture absorbs and circulates across social platforms. His global fashion influence alone became a phenomenon. A tattoo reveal becomes an aesthetic trend. An airport outfit becomes a viral style category. A fragrance note he wears becomes a trending perfume. A simple t-shirt becomes sold out in 48 hours. IT is the power of a celebrity whose identity resonates far beyond fandom walls. Yet, even with all of this success, Jungkook remains an artist defined by humility, something journalists often highlight as one of the most striking contrasts between his global influence and his personal demeanor. He is confident yet grounded, ambitious yet gentle, powerful yet approachable. This duality, many writers note, is exactly what makes him irresistible to global brands and readers alike. 2025 also highlighted something deeper. The world is no longer watching Jungkook solely as an idol. They are watching him as a cultural symbol, representing the global expansion of Korean creativity and influence. From fashion editorials to luxury partnerships, Jungkook has become the face of a new kind of global identity, proudly Korean, effortlessly international, and fundamentally boundary-breaking. He embodies everything that the modern entertainment industry seeks: a compelling story, a multidimensional talent, and a timeless global appeal. And as December 2025 unfolds, it becomes clear that Jungkook's dominance in fashion and branding is not a passing phase. It is the beginning of a long-term transformation in how global media defines influence, style, and cultural power. The rest of this article will explore that journey in full. How he reshaped global fashion trends, how brands compete to work with him, how media responded to his military discharge, how his presence influenced entire industries, and how Jungkook ultimately cemented his place as one of the defining icons of 2025. This is not just a story about a celebrity. This is the story of a cultural force. The fashion world has always been fascinated by idols, but their fascination with Jungkook operates on a completely different level, one that even industry insiders struggle to categorize. In 2025, he evolved from a widely loved K-pop star with casual influence into a serious fashion force whose presence shifted conversations in real time. Wherever Jungkook goes, the industry follows. But what makes his rise in fashion so unique is not only his visuals or styling, it is the unexpectedness of his influence. He doesn't chase trends. He doesn't over-curate his public appearance. He doesn't try to fit into the fashion industry's rigid definitions. Instead, he moves freely, naturally, and confidently. Yet every step becomes iconic. Fashion journalists often say Jungkook has anti-fashion power, the kind of power where even his most relaxed, undone, unpolished looks become industry talking points. And this year, the industry began to realize something. Jungkook doesn't follow fashion. Fashion follows Jungkook. The Calvin Klein phenomenon, a new definition of male iconography when Jungkook became a global ambassador for Calvin Klein in earlier years. It was already considered one of the most impactful celebrity brand partnerships of the decade. But in 2025, the long-term effects of that partnership became impossible to ignore. His Calvin Klein campaigns continued circulating online with renewed momentum after his military discharge. Every time an old campaign resurfaced, the brand saw spikes in global engagements, proving that Jungkook is one of the rare ambassadors whose influence doesn't fade with time. This isn't normal. Most ambassadors see influence peaks only around new campaigns, but Jungkook's campaigns remain evergreen. Marketing experts attribute this to something they call Jungkook's economic imprint, a measurable pattern where anything he touches maintains value far longer than typical celebrity cycles. Teo put it simply, his presence creates permanent demand. Luxury houses recognize this. High-end magazines recognize this. Young consumers recognize this. And Calvin Klein understands that Jungkook isn't just a model, he is an era, airport fashion. When personal comfort becomes a global trend in 2025, global outlets such as GQ, Vogue Korea, Harper's Bazaar Japan, and British Elle highlighted Jungkook's airport fashion as one of the most influential style categories among Gen Z and Gen Alpha. This was especially interesting because Jungkook is not someone who dresses elaborately at airports. His looks are comfortable. Oversized hoodies, baggy jeans, Timberlands, caps, beanies, leather jackets, and the occasional biker-style outfit. But the simplicity is exactly what made him powerful. The fashion world has long idolized overstyled, editorial airport looks. Yet Jungkook, with zero effort, rewrote those rules. His personal style radiates authenticity, and that authenticity became aspirational.